Them happening, schemes and packaging in a one night for shows I'm juggling.
Hi guys, it's Ry'Onne and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about college. So I'm going to be telling you guys the things that I wish I knew before going to college, and then also a little bit about what I wish I knew after college. And while we do this, I'm just gonna be doing my makeup. I'm not going anywhere. I just haven't done like full makeup in a really long time. So I've got my stuff down here. So if you see me looking down here, that's what it is. So let's go ahead and get right into the video. Before going to college, I graduated high school and everything like that, and my GPA was actually really good. But I got accepted into, schools and stuff like that. And so everything was gravy, right? Everything was cool. I had like prospects and everything like that. But one of the big things was funding. So if you don't know, if you're applying for colleges now or if you're in college, obviously you know, but schools will give you funding, and so it just depends on the school itself. There's a couple different factors. It depends on the school itself. Obviously some colleges will give you more than other colleges will when it comes to funding. At my university, where I went to school, they called it was like a freshman scholarship, and basically it was just like if you were a new and incoming freshman, then you automatically applied for you automatically were eligible for this scholarship that they had, which basically they were just giving you money for picking their school, basically. And so every school is different. Like I said, some schools will give you more than other schools will. I unfortunately, and I'll get into that, my situation was a little bit different because I actually, when I went to college, was a little bit different. I didn't go straight into a 4-year university. I graduated high school and then I went to the community college in my city, and one of them, and that's where I went for my first semester, which leads me into my second point: find a campus that you love. I was going to drop one of my friends off at school, and they actually ended up going to the same school that I went to, but when I went to the campus, I just fell in love, guys. I just fell in love with the campus. It was giving me everything that I would have wanted in a college. And sorry if I'm spacing out, but it gave me everything that I wanted in a college. I mean, I wanted to go to a college that was big and gave you college vibes, being on campus and everything, but I also didn't want to go to a school where it was too big, so the college campus and everything to me was a perfect fit. It was the right size. I mean, the campus to me was beautiful, the way it was set up and everything. And so I don't know if that had to do with the time of year that we were going, but it was just beautiful and I fell in love. So I went home and I applied ASAP, got accepted. This is where I went to school after my first semester at the community college. This is where I went to school. So that is the second thing that I will say, is just finding a campus that you love. Second tidbit, I guess, about the money aspect is sometimes people have to apply for loans. Some people get full rides, and that's a whole nother thing. But some people have to apply for loans, and one of the things, I guess, it wasn't that I didn't know, but it's one of the things that you kind of don't really think about, and that is having a co-signer. And if you don't know, a co-signer is basically just someone, if you don't pay your loans back, then that person will essentially be responsible for paying your loans back. And a lot of the loans and stuff like that require a co-signer. And so that's just another thing to be aware of. And so the next thing is housing. So at my university, they give you an option, I believe, like your sophomore year, or you have to have a certain amount of credits, which find that out as well, what the requirements are for living off campus. But my university, like I said, you have to have like a certain amount of hours done, right? Which means you've been at the university or a university. If your credits transfer, like I said, I went to another community college before I went to my university, and that was another thing, is making sure that your credits transfer. But I went to the university, and I lived on campus in dorming until my junior year. So after junior year is when I got my first off-campus apartment, and the apartment that I got was pretty close to campus. But here, where I go to school, graduated. Where I went to school, they didn't really have, they had one building where it was kind of like apartment style living, kinda, and it was only for the upperclassmen that you could go once you got, like to a certain class. So after freshman year, you could pick wherever you wanted to stay on campus. Another thing that I would ask about would be the security of the building. So my freshman year dorms, each of the buildings, I only lived in 2 buildings my freshman year, and then my sophomore junior year, I only lived in 2 buildings. So my sophomore and junior year, I stayed in the same building, and then my freshman year, like I said, all of us had to stay in like the same building. Freshmen had to stay in the same building. And when you would come into the building, like during the day, like the building would be open, so you would have people from different buildings. Like you could live in one building across campus, and then when you got to the other side of campus, like if you were hungry or whatever, you could go and you could eat. So you were free to like come and go as you pleased. And that's another thing, I'll get to that next. It's just like dining and stuff. But you could come and go as you pleased. But when it got to about, I want to say like 10 or 11, it was pretty late. It wasn't too early in the day, but when it got later, they would lock the door. So if you didn't live in the building, you would either have to like know somebody that lived in the building, or have a key in order to get in the building, which is a good thing, because this means you don't have to worry about waking up and then there being some random person, in your building, in the hallway or whatever. And then by a long shot, if this person manages to get into the building, you could get on the elevator. But how the elevators were set up, you had to have a key to like unlock the floor. So again, if you didn't have a key, unless you just stood on the elevator, if you didn't have a key, then you weren't getting on to the floor. And then they also had stairwells, which would obviously lead up to the different floors and stuff like that. And so once you were in the stairwells, you could move freely, but you had to have a key to get into the stairwell. And so that was something that I liked as well, because you didn't have to really worry about safety or anything like that. So that, sorry if you guys can see the moving shadow. It was a car driving by. But yeah, so that was another thing that I was like pretty happy about, because you know, you don't have to worry about safety concerns. And even as a parent, you know, that's something that you don't want to have to like worry about, is if your child is going to be safe or not when they're going to school. Like, that's not something that a parent wants to have to worry about. And so I was happy with that as well. So the next thing, like I said, guys, are your meal plans. So for the meal plan, I would ask about that as well. How is that set up? So my meal plan, and I don't know about other schools, but my meal plan was set up in a sense of being a part of my tuition. And so we were allotted, and you could add more onto like your meal plan, like more money onto your meal plan if you wanted to. Like, you could upload money onto, it was your ID. So you could upload more money onto your ID, and that's just what you would swipe and use when you were in the dining halls or whatever. So you could add money onto there. But like I said, how it was set up was you would pay your tuition, and then every semester you would get, I think it was like $1,800, and that $1,800 would have to last you that entire semester, unless, like I said, you put more money onto like your ID, your student ID. So that was one thing that was kind of a bit, and I think it was kind of good. What is that? I think it was good because as a college student, most people don't have to worry about, and some people do, but worry about, like how much money you're spending on food. And so I will say it did help with budgeting, like learning how to budget your money, because unless you had more money to put on there, you wanted to make sure that, you had enough money on there to last and stretch to get you to the end of the semester. And so that was really, really important. I want to talk about roommates next. So freshman year, like I said, I transferred in my second semester, and so I was just given a roommate. But I wanted to talk about the fact that if you are not happy, you can change. If you do not want to be in the room with the person, you can change. So I didn't have this happen to me personally. I didn't have any issues with like my roommates or the people, that I was staying with. But you can always, most people have like RAs. They're called different things at different schools, but basically the chaperone to the floor that you live on. A lot of people will go and they kind of have, like, if you have an issue, they'll try to have like mediation between like you and that person. If it's an issue or whatever, they'll try to have mediation, and if that doesn't work, then I think they go about a process of like, finding you another roommate, moving you to another room, or whatever the case may be. Sorry guys, I had to go off camera to get my eyebrows together. But yeah, so if there's ever an issue, there should be a person there that you can go and talk to kind of help resolve those issues that you may have with someone. I just want to go on now and talk about things I wish I had known after college. So my situation is a little bit different because I graduated during So there was no graduation. I was in the middle of April, and it was hard. I will say what helped me is I had already had employment before I graduated. So I was already working somewhere before I graduated, and so I didn't have issues with like finding employment or anything like that. But a lot of people do have issues finding employment now. And so I know people have resorted to doing like jobs like Uber and stuff like that to kind of help bridge the gap, because now it's like, well, what do I do? I know a lot of people had internships and stuff like that led to employment opportunities for them, and now they can't do their job because there essentially like is no job for them to do. So I kind of wish maybe I had taken it a little bit more serious than I did. And that's not to say, because like I said, I have employment. I just wish I did maybe go to a couple of the fairs, because it just showed you the employment opportunities that were out there and tailored to your degree and what you want to get your degree in if you're still in school, you know. And so I kind of just wish, sorry if I'm like moving, I'm sitting on the floor, as you can probably tell, and I'm not as young as I used to be. It's giving your girl the flux. But yeah, so I just wish that maybe I had taken that a little bit more seriously than I did. And that probably would have opened me up to a lot more opportunities and things like that after the fact. Definitely said to take advantage of those opportunities that are presented. Please take advantage of those opportunities. And then, I mean, there's really not, because it's only been a couple of months since I've graduated. So it's not like I have like this whole plethora of knowledge, but I would say to plan ahead, whether this stuff was going on in the world or not, to definitely plan ahead and kind of scout like jobs and stuff like that out, so that ahead of time you will be aware of what you're going into in terms of the employment world. You want to be prepared for what you're going into. You don't want to be blindsided or anything like that. So that's what I would say. To just be prepared for what you're going to be doing when you graduate. And another thing that I forgot to mention earlier, you can change your mind. If you decide that you get to school and that maybe college isn't for you, that's fine. If you get to school and you decide, hey, I don't want to do this major anymore, or I don't want to do this minor anymore, you can change your mind. I was in that situation where I was able to change what was going to be my major, and I actually ended up switching it to my minor, and it was probably one of the best decisions that I had made, because I found a track that was perfect for me. So I was able to switch my major to communications, and that's what I graduated with. That's what I have my degree in. But I was able to do this switch, and it made life so much easier for me, guys. Like, I realized that I was like now doing something that I actually liked. I was able to like flourish. I wasn't as stressed. You know, they say like you want to do a job that you love and it won't feel like a job, and I like strongly stand by that, because who wants to work somewhere and they're just not happy with what they're doing? They're not happy with their degree, they're not happy with just the track that their life is on. Don't do it. Life is too short. Don't do it. Don't stress yourself out. Like, you have options. Like, there are things that you can do instead of going to college. There are things that you can do instead of sticking with the major or the minor that you've chosen. So do not settle, and ask questions. I wish I had asked my advisor, like, hey, is there another, track that I can take with like the credits that I have? Is there something that would fit me a little bit more? That's their job. Their job is to tell you the options that you have, the options of, like changes that you can make. That is their job. Like, ask them questions, reach out to them, email them. That's their job. Like, I can't stress that enough. That is their job, guys. So don't feel afraid to reach out to them and ask them questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions in general. You can always ask your professors for questions. You can ask like your classmates. Like, reach out, network, branch out, and find what works for you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera and put my lashes on, and I will be back to close out this video for you. Okay guys, so that was the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it and were at least able to take some tips away from this video moving forward. Even if you're in college or going into college, there's never too late to make a change. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you turn on the notification bell so that you are notified every time I upload a new video. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.
Yeah.